I mean, he used to be much more active back in like 2016, 2017, did retire for a couple of years, and recently, last year, did return to StarCraft, did return to competitive play, and looks like recently has joined Ladder Legends as well. Okay. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the German Terran player. We have the Red Terran. It is Moja. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Blue Protoss player. We have the American Protoss. It is a Creature. Let's go. Let us go. We're settling into our TvP again, the final series of the broadcast, and I'm ready for some more aggressive builds. Now, Creature is very standard. He's a very, very standard player. It's quite rare to see Creature be aggressive and quite rare to see him go all in. I'm not saying it never happens, but it is a rare sight for Creature. Meanwhile, Moja is the opposite. Moja is very in your face. We do see a lot of 2-base all-ins, 3-base all-ins, hyper aggressive builds out of Moja, even mech as well. Moja is a much more chaotic player, typically. For now, speaking of chaos, CC first build out of Moja. You can get away with this on these larger maps just because there's less of a chance that you get punished for it. Speaking of maps like the Old Republic, Winter Madness, Celestial Enclave, White Rabbit. So straight up CC first. And again, just very low chance that Creature does punish. Just opening up standard. And Gates Hyper Expand. We're expecting Twilight Council play out of Creature. Meanwhile, I don't really know what to expect out of our Terran. CC first into a Rax. Of course, a delayed Rax. This can lead into, say, early Tech Lab into Marauder production, or a fast third CC into 3 CC 3 Rax. That would make sense on this map. True. That explodes into a very strong mid game after rushing to a third CC. We'll see. That's true. Meanwhile, if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get our gamba going. Coming into this, I do lean towards Moja, but I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure that Moja and Creature, they're only playing just now for the first time. They have not played against each other in the past, and I want to say that they're both very similar in skill. They're both very similar. I lean towards Moja just because we've seen a little bit more Moja as of late and less Creature. But we'll see. For now, Twilight Council opener, getting into Blink, safety battery on the low grounds. Again, just very safe play at a Creature is what we expect. We should soon be seeing the hallucination scatter across the map, as it's going to be a 1-1-1 follow-up. There's no fast second Rax, no fast factory, no fast third CC. Not yet. As from here, we're just getting to a standard mid game. Nothing crazy. It's building up. Hallucination does scout, does confirm. Gets eyes on the lack of fast third CC or fast second Rex. Confirms the main. How many gateways do we have? So far, it's going to be 3 gates in the main base and the Robo on the low ground. So 3 gate Blink into a Robo into a third. Very safe play at a Creature. It's all about being safe. Just testing the waters, getting into the Old Republic. We didn't actually get to speak on this map just because I think this is the second game we're casting on the Old Republic, and we haven't really seen much standard macro play at all this entire broadcast. True. Actually, I think we might have seen it once, if that. we've been seeing a lot of aggression, a lot of weird builds. But when it comes to this map here, the third base and fourth base are more open. True, much more open. I think true. We did see some late game earlier today, but it was mech, right? It was mech versus Protoss. That doesn't count. Like that, like that was still very unusual and very unorthodox. So we've yet to experience an actual macro game in the entire broadcast. Standard game. But we're heading in that direction. But when it comes to the Old Republic, the third and fourth base are a lot more open, especially the fourth. It can be very difficult. So typically we do favor Protoss players getting into the mid to late game here, as they can more easily gain map control and apply pressure to the fourth base and make it difficult for the Terran to expand. That's usually the case, usually. So we'll see if we can get there. Creature is now building up into the Bay, into Colossus production. Charge is on the way as well. A little bit surprised to see no Forge yet, but we should be seeing a Forge to get to upgrades to the +1. Likewise, so CC on location for Moja. He's now moving out. Remember, this is just to apply some pressure. It is going to be hitting with stim and combat shields. Like, the upgrades are finishing in time, and surprisingly, Creature misses this. He does spot the tail end of the army. Creature is somewhat aware. Charge is done, and Moja commits in. He does commit in. Stalkers they get spotted. And all good defense here from Creature, trying to defend. He does take down all the Zealots though. Decent target firing. And he breaks through. Wow, he breaks through. Tank volleying the Immortal earlier. The Immortal goes down, and with that, there's just nothing left. There's nothing here. Remember, Moja, he was expanding. This was a macro game. Like, this was a macro build. It was meant to build up, but hey, he does snowball out of control. He breaks through that defensive line, and there is nothing left for Creature. Losing the Immortals. GG gets called, and Moja will take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, everything just very quickly snowballed out of control. Unfortunately, Creature, he failed to see this moving out ahead of time. Ideally, you want to slow this down. Ideally, with your Stalkers, with Blink especially, you want to be able to engage, pick away at the Marines, buy time while you warp in back at home defensively. But if you recall, Creature, he didn't see the move out until it was already halfway across the map, right? It was a very late scout and late realization from Creature, so he did have less time to react and to prepare. GG. GG, well played, and with that, Moja takes the lead, and we still have yet to embrace the macro game. Like, we were leaning in that direction, we were getting there, then the game ended. Then Moja moved out unscouted. And we'll see if we can make a series out of this. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the red Terran player, we have the German Terran leading the series 1-0. It is Moja. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the American Protoss. We have the blue Protoss player himself. For Ladder Legends, it is Creature. Here we go. Go. As again, Moja, he didn't really do anything too crazy. He was just building up, getting a third base, going for his stim, combat shields timing. Pretty standard setup last game out of Moja. This time, we expect more of the same. Welcome to Winter Madness. Winter Madness is even larger than the Old Republic, even more defendable, so it is much more difficult to be assertive here on this map. Not impossible, but just more difficult. So eyes are mainly on Creature to see how he does adjust. Less so on Moja. As this time, no CC first. True, there is no CC first. That's another factor in last game, of course, is that Moja had a slightly boosted economy. Economy was boosted, but otherwise we're calming down. Single gas opener out of Moja. Everything looking as it should. So we have a standard follow-up. Behind this, we have a cheeky bunker behind the mineral line. Okay. Throws down the bunker. It was unscouted, which means the bunker, it looks like it will finish. Yeah, bunker will complete. This is just to delay mining here at the natural. And a late scout, late realization, late shield battery here out of creature. Oof, a rough start for our Protoss. Without that battery, it does mean that mining is going to be delayed even longer. Meanwhile, second Reaper's on the way. Can we get into the bunker? He's going for it. Yeah, he can get in. He can't get in. Oof, does get past the Adept. 2 Reapers and an SCV. The SCV's here to repair, ideally. And repair the bunker. There we go. Speaking of, there's a repair. Oh no, the SCV! Get in that! Jesus. Very close, very clutch. The battery is now done, which means finally creature will defend. Creature will clean this up. KDA charges popping up. Ice control with the SCV. With almost 4 minutes in and still no mining at the natural. Finally, the bunker goes down. Does he get the Adept? Oh my god, he gets the Adept as well. Adept does fall. Creature can now main out over. He can now start mining from his own natural base, but very late mining here for Creature. And Moja's building up. Oh, going for a 2-on-1. Oh my god. Hyper aggression here from Moja. This is a borderline 2-base all-in. This is a bit of an older build. We saw this a lot at the start of the year, so I guess not that old, but you know what, 3-4 months ago. This was quite popular amongst players like Clem, amongst players like Maru. It's a quote-unquote 2-on-1, but as you can see here, there's no tech lab on the Raxes. The Marines are just for bio production, the Rax is just for Marine production. Meanwhile, we're rallying with tanks and Vikings across the map. It is an all-in. It's just straight up an all-in. It hits very, very hard. Vikings, they land, they add extra DPS. And again, this was very, very trendy a couple of months ago amongst the best Terran players in the world. It's very hard. Especially if unscouted. And there is no scouting. There's nothing here. We need a sentry, we need a hallucination. There we go, first hallucinations moving out across the map. But this is a late scout from Creature, very late. As the army should be pushing soon. And here it comes. Now he sees. Yeah, now he sees, now he knows. Now Creature is aware. Behind this, he begins the first Immortal. The Immortal's in the main, but again, the Immortal production is very late. It's very delayed. Oh, it does catch out the first Stalker already. Blink is done. The boys have arrived. Yeah, the boys are here. Blink is on cooldown. Force fields can slow this down, but there's only a couple of force fields. And Moja gets up the ramp. Ooh, yeah, he gets up the ramp. He's within range of all the shield batteries. Batteries are going to be denied. Stalker goes down as well. Pylon is exposed. And I don't see Creature diving in here. He's going to go for it, though. The boys are being pulled. That's a lot of probes. They're going to be dealt with. And we're just rallying. You're just rallying across the map. Again, the Immortal's barely standing. Takes down the pylon, which means there's only 2 gateways. Only one gateway's powered. Warping in 1 unit at a time. And Moja's done it. Moja has done it. He has broken the natural. Again, it was just a late scout out of Creature. Late scout, late reaction, late realization. Just because of the rough early game, it all plays into each other. And GG gets called. GG gets called. Moja, he will claim the series 2-0, advancing on into the next round. Creature is knocked out of the tournament. GG. GG, well played. Again, a hyper-aggressive build here from Moja. It all began with the bunker behind the mineral line. Unfortunately, it wasn't scouted. If it was seen earlier, we could have seen a faster battery to deal with it in a much faster fashion. But it was such a delayed natural-based mining because of that bunker. So very, very rough opener out of Creature. Likewise, late sentry, late hallucination, late scout. Creature didn't see the all-in coming until it was already moving out across the map. Like, it was already coming his way by the time he realized what was happening. So just such a late reaction and late realization, and GG. GG, well played. With that, congratulations. Moja, he will claim the series. He will claim it. He will advance on. Whew. And I believe you have some catching up to do in the brackets. Un momento. Un momento. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back yourselves. I don't know if anyone has been updated. Yeah, no one's been updating here, unfortunately, but we can regardless theorize ourselves. So when it comes to the upper portion of the brackets, Inexorable did fall to Ledlix, and we have a PvP. It's going to be Shameless and Ledlix facing off in the upper semifinals. Meanwhile, we have Milky Cow versus GG Machine in the lower semi. So it's going to be Shameless, Ledlix, Milky Cow, and GG Machine. 2 Protoss, 1 Terran, 1 Zerg in the upper brackets. Meanwhile, when it comes to the lower brackets, again, Creature just got knocked out, and it's going to be Moja versus the winner of Mini Zerg and Baby Marine. That series has yet to play out. But again, a lot of games, a lot of matches, a lot of StarCraft to be had, to be held. So we are going to be catching up next week. Next week will be the next kind of iteration, the next set of matches, of course, for OSC. There's still a lot of StarCraft to come. A lot more StarCraft, a lot of matches. Let's go. Thank you so much for the bits in the chat. Omega, gracias, papi, gracias. Omega Trucks. Thank you so much, do appreciate it. Meanwhile, we're going to be heading off for the time being. Again, didn't get much sleep, and I'm giga tired. And of course, we do have what later on tonight, the podcast. Bam! As you can see here, every single week on Thursday evening, we do have the podcast. That is our weekly talk show where we talk all things StarCraft. I was alluding to it earlier, but this week we have the interview with Jeff Kaplan. It was a very lengthy 5-hour interview with Jeff Kaplan, and I have to go back and rewatch it and go and take some notes. So I have to go back and I'll watch on 3x speed and take some notes because there was just so much to digest. It was a very, very dense interview, and it was really good. It was a really well done interview. I mean, I say that it was just 5 hours of Jeff talking, basically, allowed to be given this platform to discuss his time at Blizzard, his time developing Overwatch, his time talking about the StarCraft MMO that they're working on. For those who don't know, I guess a bit of a teaser. He revealed that they were working on a StarCraft MMO called StarCraft Frontiers, or StarCraft Frontier. And it was basically when Titan was cancelled, and it was a really rough time for Jeff, for his career, and for Blizzard as well, because they had spent 5 years developing Titan, and it failed as a project, and so he kind of got called in by Mike Morheim, and he was told, he was like, hey, we're done with Titan, obviously. It failed. It was a massive money sink, of course, and this is of course back when it was Activision Blizzard, so they're getting a lot of pressure now from Activision and from shareholders, because I believe they also became public. They also became publicly traded, and he was given 6 weeks to come up with a new game, and one of the ideas of the new game was going to be a StarCraft MMO, but the problem is that he was told, you have 6 weeks to come up with an idea, and you have two years to develop, right? You have 2 years to develop the game and to release it. And one of the ideas that they had was a StarCraft MMO, but very, very quickly they realized that they could not do it in 2 years. It just would be impossible to accomplish that. So they eventually settled on, they eventually settled on Overwatch, which is a much smaller scale game. It's like a team-based shooter game. There's no MMO aspect, there's no PvE. Feels bad, man. Overwatch 2, there's no PvE aspect either. It was a much more scaled down, and it was very successful, to be fair, but they eventually settled on Overwatch instead, which was a lot more realistic given the time frame that they were given. But he goes a little bit more in depth as to the ideas behind the StarCraft MMO, the classes, the approach that they were going to be taking, and he does say that they all love the idea. Chris Metzen loved the idea. They all love the idea. It's just they just couldn't do it right. It's a bit of a shame. I know that one of the things that I wish was asked was why they decided to go for a new IP and why they decided to start working on Titan to begin with. I think the answer to that is probably that they just that they felt the pressure to just come up with something new instead of using the IP that they already had, because it kind of limits Blizzard and it limits their creative ideas. It sounds like they just wanted something fresh instead of another Warcraft game or another StarCraft game, right? And they did come up with a new IP that was Overwatch eventually, right? But it feels like that's probably the reason why they were working on Titan. But I guess we'll discuss a little bit more during the podcast. Discuss a little bit more then. But we have that interview to go through. We have the mostly interview as well, done by StarCraft historian. TLMC, Team Liquid Map Contest, was officially announced, and we have dates regarding the official contest as well. I will most likely be pushing to become a judge again to go through the maps, so that's going to be another thing. Meanwhile, Stars Agora was cancelled, so we're going to be discussing that. Going to be discussing the San Francisco LAN that was held not too long ago. The Iceland events, RSL, GSL-CK, and many other events. So again, plenty of StarCraft to discuss during the podcast. It was a pretty intense week. And again, I have to go back and go through some of the interviews and take some notes. Don't have bits. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you for the bits, Pappy. Thank you. Do appreciate it. But again, a lot to discuss. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We'll see you guys next time. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft stream a raid. And also, again, shout out to OSC for hosting the OSC Elite Rising Star. As you can see, there's an event for up-and-coming players to support the up-and-coming talent in StarCraft. And we might be back next week. It depends. It all depends on availability. Sometimes other casters cover it, like Dave Testa or Chicken Man or Steadfast or Wardy. So it does depend on who is available at the time. But otherwise, it will always be there to provide some OSC coverage. Otherwise, who is live? Who can we send everyone over to? I see I haven't rated Florencio in a while. I know that Enki's stream. We can give some love to Enki, el hermoso, papi. We give him some love. He's spending some time with Pacheca, the Pachenki.
Expansiones de la izquierda de.
Sí.
Yeah, I think they're casting some team games. We'll give him some love. Unless there's someone else. Yeah, we'll give it to El Hermoso. Sure. Alright, but with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys later on tonight for the podcast, or we'll see you tomorrow for some Covert Giants Cup. Otherwise, see you next time. Ciao, papi, ciao. See you next time. Hasta luego.